Hello and welcome to the first regular broadcast of Penglis Online News. This is news from a conservative libertarian perspective. All issues and topics covered will have that clear point of view. The goal of Penglis Online News, as always, is to inspire new ideas, invent new terms and new language, to give you new ways of looking at and thinking about the news, and finally to change and redirect the national debate. Welcome now to Penglis Online News. In an unprecedented case of monetary manipulation, the U.S. Treasury has managed to hold the national debt to exactly $16,699,396,000,000 every day without so much as a 1 penny increase since May 17th of this year. My source is a series of articles from Terrence Jeffrey of cnsnews.com. Congress, however, continues to increase the federal deficit, which is the difference during a fiscal year between how much the government takes from us and how much more they spend. How is it then that the government has had to borrow $146 billion in August, $97 billion for July, and yet doesn't record a single dollar increase in the national debt? The Washington Times on December 7, 2012 reported that the federal government borrows 46 cents of every dollar it spends. The spending certainly hasn't stopped, so neither has the borrowing. The Congressional Research Service, in their August 27, 2013 report on debt limit history, writes that as of May 19th, the debt limit, or debt ceiling, was reset by law at $16,699,000,000,000, which is where the national debt has held fast since May 17th, 2 days earlier. What an amazing coincidence. USDebtClock.org now has the national debt at $16,941,000,000,000, which is $242 billion over the legal debt limit, which would be illegal. So, how has it been possible for the national debt to remain fixed despite an increase in deficit borrowing? Realistically, it isn't. So something else is in play. On May 17th, the day the national debt stood still, Treasury Secretary Lew wrote House Speaker John Boehner that he would implement, quote, the standard set of extraordinary measures that allows the Treasury to continue to borrow and spend money even after it has hit the legal debt limit. Which means the government borrowed money after the debt limit was reached, but made it look like it didn't. The national debt limit has in fact been breached, and the Treasury Secretary has admitted how the real national debt total can be hidden. The Speaker of the House knew all this as far back as May 17th and has chosen to do nothing about it, making the Speaker a co-conspirator of debt. Not a single investigation has started in Congress, no one in government is questioning this, yet the debt continues to accumulate, whether officially recorded or not. Garth Kent of WorldNet Daily on September 4th stated that, quote, extraordinary measures includes a one-time dividend payment of nearly $60 billion from government corporation Fannie Mae to the U.S. Treasury. Secretary Lew again wrote Speaker Boehner on August 2nd that the extraordinary measures would be used through October 11th. This is when the extraordinary measures will run out, and the debt ceiling will have to be dealt with. Stay tuned for another probable debt limit increase from the Socialist Democrats and their willing accomplices in the Republican Party leadership. Penglis Online News is brought to you by The Complete Guide to Flight Instruction, which is my sarcastic and blunt critique of our flight training system and how to fix it. Also, if you want to learn to fly, if you want all the secrets, all the inside information, all the things that will really get you through the flight training system efficiently, quickly, and with all kinds of information you're not going to get from any other source, please consult The Complete Guide to Flight Instruction, available from Amazon.com. The Great Global Warming hoax took a plunge this week because the Arctic ice cap grew 60% this year, as reported by the UK Mail on September 7th. Despite the lack of American media coverage, there is more ice coverage, as almost 1 million more square miles of ocean are ice-capped compared to 2012. The environmental lobby should be celebrating this news, broadcasting the news worldwide, and proclaiming victory over man-made climate change. However, the real news of this story is how and why it's not being reported. This ice pack increase means that all the computer models, the ideological scientists, Al Gore, the president, the EPA, the Supreme Court, who made CO2 a pollutant, all the climate protection plans, all the laws and regulations, the greenhouse gas panic, the war on coal, carbon taxes, and every government-required change to human behavior and liberty because of a coming global climate catastrophe were all for nothing. So, now they can all be repealed. We'll be waiting. Some scientists believe the world is now headed for global cooling, which was predicted by the scientists of the 1970s before they predicted global warming. In both cases, the experts were wrong because they picked the agenda and outcome first and then tried to manufacture the evidence to back it up. The Canada Free Press, in an article by Mike Jensen, September 8th, further discredits the climate hoaxers with the fact that there has been no demonstrable global warming since 1997. The climate liars call this a pause. Well, when will this pause end? What started it? How is it that man-made CO2 can increase for 16 years? The ice caps can increase in size, and the worldwide temperature can hold steady. Just the opposite should have happened for a warming theory to be a fact. Further news reveals that the Northwest Passage from the Atlantic to the Pacific has been blocked with ice all year, which has forced many ships to change their routing or turn back entirely. Also, the government weather agency, NOAA, predicted a, quote, extremely active hurricane season based on their warming models, yet the first half of hurricane season has passed without a single hurricane. The fact that no celebration has taken place by the leftist environmental community from this wonderful news of the increased ice pack and reversal of warming temperatures is confirmation beyond any doubt that the climate change campaign was always about generating fear, not about science, and the solution was government control and socialism, not about finding a solution that maintains liberty and freedom. There is a deplorable lack of curiosity by the environmental community about these new revelations. Proof again that if it doesn't fit the agenda, it isn't really happening. The danger of an attack on Syria by the Obama administration appears to be waning for now, thanks to a deal brokered by Russian President Vladimir Putin, which appears to have stolen President Obama's military thunder. However, many questions on this policy remain. As far back as March, the Syrian government and Syrian opposition groups have accused each other of using chemical weapons, as reported by CBS News through the Drudge Report. Why did this become a singular cause for President Obama with all the other terrible things going on in the world? Why has the administration preferred to go this alone? August 28th, Reuters reported how the Obama administration had failed to properly consult congressional intelligence committees. The Weekly Standard reported that same day that Democrat Congressman Gerald Nadler stated that the decision to use military force can only be made by Congress unless the U.S. is under attack or attack is imminent. Yet the president claimed he had the power to act without Congress, which demonstrates no understanding by the president of the Constitution or the separation of powers. The president, Press Secretary Carney, and Secretary of State Kerry all demonized Syrian President Assad for using chemical weapons on his own people, but have made no mention, no apology, nor any condemnation for when President Clinton and Attorney General Janet Reno used chemical weapons on American citizens in Waco, Texas in 1993. CS gas, a highly inflammable gas, was pumped into church buildings by tanks. The resulting firestorm from the highly inflammable chemical weapon, concentrated in a small space, killed 76 men, women, and children. The buildings, with their bodies still inside, were subsequently bulldozed into the ground to hide the evidence of the crime. The perpetrators of the worst act of U.S. government terrorism are still at large. CS gas has been banned by the International Chemical Weapons Convention for use in war, but it was used in Waco. The president is fond of saying he can initiate hostilities as commander-in-chief. However, a constitutional review of the executive power delegated in Article 2, Section 2 clearly states that the president, quote, shall be commander-in-chief when called into the actual service of the United States, unquote. Had the language simply stated that the president shall be commander-in-chief, then no argument could be made as to when the president becomes commander-in-chief. However, the language contains the qualifier when called into the actual service of the United States, which makes the words shall be in the future tense and conditional, after the president is called into actual service by the Congress after a declaration of war. Although custom since World War II has made the president the commander-in-chief automatically upon taking office, the Constitution doesn't bear this out. If the president can be called into actual service, it is presumed he can be recalled from actual service as well, and would return simply to president until called into actual service again as commander-in-chief. One theory is that the whole Syria campaign, especially the national address by the president on September 10th, was designed to take the one-year anniversary of the murder of Ambassador Chris Stevens, Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, and Tyrone Woods in Benghazi completely out of public and media scrutiny, and to hide from any questions where the president was during the night-long attack. Also in question is why the president wants to attack Syria to help al-Qaeda, but felt no necessity to use military force to help those brave Americans on sovereign American territory in Benghazi. Penglis Online News, in order to bring you the most accurate information on the economy, presents information from John Williams' Shadow Government Statistics at shadowstats.com. Contrary to the rosy picture painted by official government figures, ShadowStats reports the rate of inflation to be around 5.5% so far for 2013. This is done by calculating inflation the same way it was calculated in 1990 before the numbers were fudged. Unemployment, when combining long-term discouraged workers and the U6 short-term discouraged workers, makes the unemployment rate over 23%. If you take the reported unemployment rate, around 7%, we have an unemployment report deficit of 16%. The unemployment report deficit is the difference between the real unemployment rate and the reported unemployment rate. We at Penglis Online News thank you for watching and encourage you to join us again for our next broadcast of news from a conservative, libertarian perspective. Please feel free to share this report and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Greg Penglis of Penglis Online News. Good day.